I hate drawing cars. I'm not a big engine kind of person, so I was a little bit leery of doing a trains theme for my 100 Scene Studies challenge. To be honest, I don't actually know why I picked this theme in the first place. I was watching Inside Out, saw the train of thought, and was like,
that might be fun.
But after the first day, I realized, holy crap, trains are cool, man. The elegance, the shapes,
the noise.
They come in all shapes and sizes, and they're all pretty freaking awesome. Don't think I've ever ridden one, but now it's on my bucket list. So I know it's been a few weeks since the last Scene Studies theme. The summer is pretty crazy for me, and this summer's been especially crazy. Lots of local events, volunteering at summer camp, day trips,
fishing.
It's all very exciting, but all a lot. So I've been taking it a little bit easier with the challenge and making it fit my schedule a little bit better. This theme was split over 2 weeks, so I could give myself the time each scene deserved and not just rush through it for the sake of getting it done. I believe these studies bring us to 55, I think. Now I'm kind of doubting that. I don't know, I think it's 55. We'll say 55. As of right now, I'm still on track to finish all 100 scenes by the end of October, provided nothing comes up or I don't get sick, major unexpected life changes, that kind of thing. I have a plan, but the plan is always ready to be adjusted if need be. Life is like a train, man, and I'm just along for the ride. So I don't really have any advice about painting trains. I was really just winging it the whole time. I know less than nothing about trains, so this theme was a lot of me just sitting and staring at the reference photo and hoping that I was painting the pipes and engine-y stuff in the right places. My one piece of advice would be to paint what you see and don't make it harder than it needs to be. Now you may be thinking,
Allie, something's different. Something's off, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
And you'd be right. I'll help you out. I got a new sketchbook. This is the beautiful, the mysterious, the fan-frickin-tastic Pentalic 5x8-inch aqua journal. I'm sure you've probably heard me complain many times over the last few months about how much I've struggled with blending in my scene studies, particularly with sky scenes, and after I finished the last sketchbook, I decided to try out a different one. The Pentalic aqua journal has cold press paper, which means blending is a lot less stressful. The pages stay wetter for longer, giving the gouache time to soak in and mesh well with the other colors. And also, wow, the texture. I'm a fan. I also wanted to try out this particular size since it's literally perfect for the scenes. No more spending 10 minutes taping out my dimensions and praying that the tape isn't slanted. I just follow the edges of the page and we're good to go. Some of you have talked about maybe wanting to try out this challenge too, and I would highly recommend this sketchbook for it. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking about doing a sky theme soon since painting skies on this paper is so much more enjoyable. Turns out, I can paint clouds. Word of advice though, be careful pulling your tape off. This paper really likes the tape and doesn't enjoy parting with it as easily, so pull your tape away from the painting, not towards it, or you risk ripping the actual painting. I did not follow this advice and ripped 3 of the paintings, so. Anyways, so I wanted to do a bit of a 2022 goals check-in since we're about halfway through the year. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit discouraging when I looked at my journal prepping for this video. There's a lot of unmet goals, and honestly, some I forgot about entirely, so I'm kind of thinking about using Notion to start keeping track of my goals better. I've heard Kelsey Rodriguez mention it several times, and she's like,
an art career queen?
So maybe I do need to take her advice and start using it. Anyways, first up is business goals. I had down to purchase my domain, which I did do. My dad and I are currently working right now on getting my website built and ready to publish. Is that the right word? I don't know. Make it public to the rest of the world. But let me tell you, that is so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. My dad's a programmer and even he's been confused by some of it. So anyways, my website is well underway, which brings us to the second business goal. Start my email list. So now that I have a domain, I actually could get this started like right now, but I think I might wait till we get my website fully ready. I want to kind of create like a weekly or every other week, almost like a scrapbook spread email of what I'm working on and what's going on in my art journey. Patreon is definitely the most intimate place for me to connect with my art community.
Shout out to the Scoop Troop. You guys are fantastic.
But I understand that Patreon isn't something that everyone can afford, and having an email list would be a free way for y'all to get a little bit of a closer look at the art journey. My third goal was to get a new microphone. Haven't done that, haven't even looked at it, to be honest. I'm kind of thinking about taking it off of my goals list. I just don't really think it's necessary right now for where I'm at. I don't know, maybe next year. Next up is education goals. I have worked on a few of these, but some of them are kind of vague and untrackable. Number 1 was practice anatomy. I bought a book on dynamic human anatomy that has been super helpful. Muscles are actually kind of cool. Who knew? I'm only a few chapters in. It's a big book, but I do notice a difference in my figure drawings, and I'm going to be making an art book collection tour soon, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested in a closer look at the book. Number 2 was practice facial expressions. I did practice this a bit, I think, maybe. Like I said, some of these aren't really measurable, so I mean, I guess doing one singular facial expression study would count as meeting that goal, but I don't know, that seems like a cop-out. Number 3, learn to sculpt. So originally I wanted to take a schoolism course on sculpting, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. However, I did buy some sculpting supplies and I've been playing around with them in my free time, so yeah, I love the feeling of clay on my hands and making a 3D thing. I find that fascinating. Number 4 was take the VizDev course. So I'm assuming I meant Victoria Ying's VizDev course on schoolism, which I did take. It was incredibly helpful, especially for a project that I'm currently working on, so yeah. Number 5, be more confident in my color skills. I do think this goal is well on its way to being met. The 100 Scene Studies Challenge has really helped me be more comfortable mixing colors, and it's also helped me notice unique color notes in what I see. I'm not always 100% accurate with my color mixes, but nobody usually is on the first shot, so. Anyways, I think I'm getting better at choosing color palettes for my own illustrations and making different colors work well together in the same scene. Like I said, far from perfect, but perfection isn't really the point of art. Funny enough, I didn't actually set any specific art goals for this year. I think mentally I just had a goal of having fun and finding joy in the process again, not really pressuring myself to achieve anything. So of the goals I set, I've met about half of them, so I guess I'm not as far behind as I thought I was. I do want to revamp my goals for this year though, and make them more understandable and measurable. So new business goals for 2022. Number 1, have my website and email list up and running by the end of July. Giving myself a time frame will help me actually work on it and prioritize it. At least that's the hope. Number 2, reach 10 patrons on Patreon. We're a little over halfway with 6 patrons, and I'm hopeful that 10 is a reasonable goal. Honestly, it means the world to me that 6 people alone want to support me and my art journey in that way. Number 3 is reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Not sure if this will happen, but it could. I don't want to just set goals that I know I'll achieve. I want a few in there that are maybe a little bit out of reach, but that keep me on my toes. I don't want to treat 1,000 as just a number though, as like, a flex or something. I just want to be able to reach 1,000 people with my art and, make them smile. So education goals. Number 1, finish reading my anatomy book. I have 6 chapters left, I think, so even if I take a whole month to read a chapter, I'll still have it done by the end of the year. Number 2, finish my 100 Scene Studies Challenge. I wasn't sure whether to put this one in creative goals or education goals since it kind of overlaps both, but I feel like since they're studies, it's a bit more on the education side. Number 3, study Mary Blair's work. So Mary Blair was one of the first women animators at Disney, and oh my goodness, her designs are absolutely insane. You need to look her up. She's fantastic. So specifically, I want to read the book, The Art and Flair of Mary Blair, which has a fantastic title, and I also want to do a master copy of 2 of her paintings. Is this an excuse to buy another art book? Creative goals. So I only really have one, but it's a pretty big one, and I've been talking about it, but not actually doing it for like 2 years now. Preparing my visual development portfolio. Fear is literally the only thing that's been stopping me from achieving this, and let me tell you, it's been a big fear for a while now. I wrote down 3 specific goals for what I want in it at the very minimum, and that is 6 environment designs, 5 prop pages, and 4 biz dev paintings. Like I said, this is the bare minimum of what I want to include. I have specifics for most of the breakdown goals for this one, but what I'm working on, it's a little bit of a secret, so I don't know, I'll probably end up spoiling it soon, but whatever. So yeah, those are my revamped goals for 2022. I really think that most of these are within the realm of achievability, but time will tell. I'm finally getting into a good work rhythm of making art and creating videos, doing admin work, packing orders, so I'm hopeful that I'll be able to make these goals work. Sorry I didn't really talk very much about the paintings for this theme. I never know how much to share of the actual process since I've talked about it several times before. I don't want to bore you guys. I had a lot of fun with this theme and thoroughly enjoyed my new sketchbook. I panicked trying to paint on the opposite side of a page that I'd already painted on because I wasn't sure if it would reactivate the previous painting, but it didn't. It's holding up really nicely, and I'm definitely adding this to my list of favorites. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the painting process of these scenes and listening to my highly unorganized mid-year goal recap for 2022. I'm looking forward to riding the adventure train that is the second half of the year and seeing where it takes us. Make sure to subscribe to come along for the journey and comment down below one of your goals for the upcoming months. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys!